Hey everyone, we are here at Gamescom 2023, or more specifically, the parking lot, but for a very good reason, because Josh has been playing a video game all about driving and all about surviving. He has been playing Pacific Drive, and he's going to tell us all about it today.
That's right, I've been playing Pacific Drive. I played about 20 to 30 minutes of the game.
Ooh.
I got to see some of the garage, and I got to see some of the actual gameplay going around, driving around.
Pacific Drive is a run-based first-person driving survival adventure game. Basically, you've got your station wagon and you start in this garage, which is sort of your home base, and you're planning a series of expeditions out into the Olympic Exclusion Zone, which is this kind of irradiated, anomaly-filled area in the Pacific Northwest of the US. Each time you go out, you're gathering resources to bring back to the garage, to upgrade your car, to build new garage stations so that you can go deeper into the zone, so you can find out more about what's going on and eventually make your escape. There is a main campaign and you know, you can finish it and be done with it. But I've designed the game really from the outset to be a thing that can kind of flex into being a sort of rogue experience where, you know, it can be a lifestyle game where you come home from work and play one run and that's your daily time with Pacific Drive. But at the same time, this setting and world that we've developed is interesting, and I suspect there's going to be plenty of players that are really in it mainly for the narrative. So we're also, you know, making sure to include plenty of accessibility options so that, like, if you don't particularly care to deal with the survival elements and you just want to, like, have a sci-fi story time, you're welcome to do that.
Well, the first thing to mention would be that we are obviously talking about this in the shadow of the fact it was just delayed until 2024.
Yep.
I believe in their official statement they said ambiguously 2024. When speaking to them just now, they did say early 2024, but I don't want to act like that's any kind of confirmation.
Yeah, fair enough. So how did you find it actually, like, playing and getting hands-on behind the wheel, as it were?
The game itself, it was fun driving the car around. The part I most liked was the garage.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
that's surprising.
I know. They put you in with sort of a bit of a beaten up car.
Yeah.
You go around the outside of the garage. You can find kind of scraps and things everywhere, bring them in, and you repair each part of the car.
Obviously, this game is about atmosphere, it's about tension, it is about horror. Did you feel that sort of atmosphere was connecting right in there? Because it's like, how do you combine the adrenaline rush of gameplay that is racing games with survival horror aspects?
It's definitely atmospheric. I'll say that off the bat.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's scary, mostly because you're kind of in the safety of a big metal
I don't know, man.
cage,
Have you seen
know what
my
I mean?
driving? That's pretty terrifying.
I dread to say. But you are in the relative safety of a car. But the tension, it's not scary, but it's very tense.
Right, okay.
And that tension comes from driving around, trying to avoid all of these horrible horrors.
Right.
One of the enemies I ran into during my time with the game was one that would attach magnets to the sides of your car.
Right.
And sort of try to pull you off the sides of the road.
Oh, right, okay. And is there sort of like dangers off the road that you'd be like sort of like
so
slowed
obviously-
down, you'd be destroyed quicker and stuff like that?
They drag you around. It's not always off the road. Like, sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's hurtful, and that's generally, like, the way that we've approached our anomalies design in general. Like, we want them to have fairly simple behaviors that can combine in interesting ways. So, like, those things, the abductors will grab you and drag you around, and this white strip in front of you is called an airstrip, and I think you're about to find out what it does. And I've had a moment where an abductor dragged me into one of those things, and I ended up flying, like, about halfway across the map in the air.
So there's obviously pits and things, and there are these big metal towers which spew electricity, which can obviously damage your car and damage you.
Yeah. This is the thing they've said from the off, this is like a roguelite style thing, or a road-lite as they're coining the term, which means that there's going to be sort of like challenge runs, and obviously you start with quite a lot of like easy stuff in the opening bit, and maybe they're trying to ease you in, but maybe the devs, I mean, they have delayed this game, they need to appreciate that there's going to be an escalation of tension that needs to be hit quicker than maybe they're doing at the moment.
The part that I played was about a third of the way into the game, so
fair.
not that far. From what I could tell, it was the end of the first region in the game.
Oh, okay, cool, fair enough. And did they give you an indication of how many regions there were going to be to explore?
They didn't say much about that. They didn't give me much in the way of story or how big the game's going to be.
Our levels are designed spaces that we then procedurally populate with anomalies and resources and buildings and stuff like that. And what appears and where it appears in a level is randomized each trip. Each of our levels has multiple entrances and exits, and we pick a random one for you to spawn at and a random one you have to exit at. So even though over many hours of gameplay you will see the same levels over and over again to some extent, you're kind of crisscrossing them in different directions and kind of having new experiences. You know, one of our pillars is your car, your way. That extends from what buttons you want the abilities on to also like where those abilities are installed. If you had a boost, for example, every car part can go in at least 2 slots, so you could put the boost on the front or the back. And it's not just to be cute, like there are some genuine reasons you might want a boost on the front that sends you backwards. And you know, there's like paint and cosmetics and stuff that you find and sort of make the car more your own aesthetically as well over time.
You may notice that I'm seeing a few issues here.
Yeah.
But even after going in there and noticing a few issues of the game, I'm still really hopeful for it.
Me too. Like, it's one of my most anticipated games. Like the way that it looks, the idea that they've created a new genre within the gaming community of this whole sort of like drive to survive style thing. I'm really interested in seeing how they're going to do.
One of the things that did make me excited as a small note, they called the area that you're in the zone.
Okay.
And I asked if that was a reference to Stalker, and they said, yeah, we were super inspired by Stalker.
See, most
roadside
devs are
picnic.
just like, nah, it's just a passing coincidence.
about
sort of
the
thing.
coincidence.
But yeah, they're just like, yeah, no, definitely, this is true.
Yeah, we were inspired by Stalker and the Southern Reach trilogy, and I was like,
Speaking my language, my
okay,
guy.
well,
That's what
fair
I like
enough.
to hear.
Yeah, I mean, we've looked at Stalker and like the Southern Reach trilogy and Roadside Picnic, like very mumuch kind of like zone stories is the genre that we think of ourselves in. Like it's sci-fi, a little bit horror, like spooky. So those are strong reference points for us for sure.
And to be honest, we're going to be stalking more content for Pacific Drive as and when it drops. And our boy Josh here will be on the scene to make sure that you know exactly what you're getting into, even if it is very mysterious and full of absolute monstrosity. So stay tuned here on FGS. Follow us on the social medias. And until then, we'll see you soon. And let's burn some rubber and get out of here.